Okay, so as I said in my Madagascar 2 video, Clay and I finished the playthrough of Fatal Frame 2. Which I say Clay and I, but I guess to give a little bit of hidden. Let me rewind my brain, I guess my tongue not talking right, and my brain not sending it the right messages. Clay had played through Fatal Frame 2. He kind of told me about it a bit as he was playing it. He loves playing horror games. He loves that genre. It's a very revered horror game. He's like, I've been playing it. I have my problems with it. But overall, I really like it. I think the story is the best element. And I remember walking in on him playing it one night. I was like, oh, okay, he's playing Fatal Frame 2. Let me just, go bug him, see what's up. I'm like, hey, what's up? What's going on? And I literally saw the ending of the game as it happened. I was like, oh, that's a pleasant ending. This some shit. And he was telling me about it. And which, again, he had already kind of been talking to me about it as he went through it. He gave me his kind of final thoughts. And he also let me know, if you replay the game on hard mode, which is not, you unlock hard mode by beating it the first time. But, excuse me. Sorry, I just had a big lunch. But, if you finish the game on hard mode, so essentially a New Game Plus, you can get a better ending. I hate the idea of having to play a game twice to get the best ending. I think you should just give me the ability to do it the first time. So I don't really want to play through it again. So I said, well, you've kind of piqued my curiosity on it. I'll play it. I'm interested in doing it. I'll play it on hard mode. We'll see if we can get the best ending. Let's play through it together. It might be fun. Less because, oh man, I'm going to be really scared. I don't want to play something scary alone, which could have very well been something that happened. But more of just, hey, I don't really play a lot of horror games. The kind of very backtracky puzzle solving, it's not something I super like. But if I'm playing it with my friend, it might be better. And this is something you really liked. I'd kind of like to experience it with you, and we'll see what we think of that ending when we get to it. So, that's kind of the background on it. We did finally finish it. I think the final playtime was about 8 hours. It was 7:45, 7:50. Excuse me, something like that. So yes, I played it on hard mode, which means I was playing it on New Game Plus, so I had a pretty much fully upgraded camera. I didn't use a lot of the special shots. Normally, when I would hit triangle to do the special shot, it's because I had also been playing Lunar around the same time, and triangle is the back button, and be like, oh, I've got my camera up. Let me go back. Oh shit, I hit the wrong button. Oh shit, I just used film I didn't want to. But I didn't really use a lot of the special shots, honestly, until the end of the game, in the final 2 fights. I do have to say, I was pretty stocked on healing items the entire time, but from what I understand, that is very normal for Fatal Frame 2. You're not really going to feel like you're in danger a lot when it comes to actual gameplay. So while I do have to say, I was pretty strapped throughout the game. It doesn't seem like it would have affected me that much otherwise. The only other kind of general thing I have to say before moving on to the presentation, gameplay, and narrative is just the fact that I don't play or watch a lot of horror. It is not a genre I am super familiar with, but it is something I want to get into more. I've been watching Dead Meat for, shout out to them. I love that channel. It's one of my favorite YouTube channels. I think I started watching them last year, and it's something that's gotten me into horror a lot more. I hated Chucky. That was something that was I can't look at this thing. I would hate to watch one of the movies. It terrifies the shit out of me. I hate everything about it. And then after watching Dead Meat, I was I have to, all right, there's a show coming out. Let me watch the Ding Dang Show. And I loved it. And then after watching, I was shit, I can't wait for the second season. And I love season 2. I've actually seen a couple of the... I actually think I've only seen one of the movies. But I want to watch the others, just haven't gotten around to them yet. But it kind of helped pop my horror cherry. And so, yeah, when you're talking about, this is a horror game and I'm really enjoying it, I am now interested in this. I don't know how much I want to play the other Fatal Frame games. Part of that is, just the experience I had with this one, which we'll get into. Part of it is also, my list of shit to play this year is long enough as is, not even including the visual novels I want to read through. on top of a bunch of other shit. Like, my year's packed. I don't really want to put the other games on here. But I would say I do have some interest in Fatal Frame 1 and Fatal Frame 3. From what I understand, 4 is maybe, you might like it, you might not, and I've heard 5 is ass, so I'm probably really not going to play that. But it's kind of the basic general shit. Now let's move on to presentation. So, I think when it comes to a horror property, presentation is probably the most important thing, because you want to be able to create that atmosphere, you want to be able to create the tension, you want to be able to create the scares. I think this is the strongest element of the game. Love the ambient music and sounds. There will be times when you're just kind of walking through a room and you just hear whispering. And sometimes it's like, oh, okay, like I remember there's one where I kept hearing this whispering. I think it wasn't in the doll making room, but it was in the Kiryu house. It was like right next to the doll making room. And then you can actually take a picture and like see the ghost who's just kind of like walking through a hole in the wall, or like there's a hole in the wall so you can see the other room and he's just pacing back and forth. Like, oh, okay, that's something spoopy. And other times you can hear ghosts actively whispering like, why did you kill? Why did you do this? And there's other times where you'll just hear sigh, you're not going to leave me again, are you? You promise. And I'm like, no! Piss off, ghost! Like, I love shit like that. I love the lighting in the game. You have a flashlight. The flashlight isn't super helpful, but it's also because it's not super necessary. I feel like that the game is dark enough to create that sense of, I don't exactly know what's going on here. Like, it's spoopy, but not to the point where I'm like, I literally can't see shit, and this is kind of getting annoying. I think the lighting strikes a very good balance, and I love that. The game has a fixed camera angle system where it's not an over-the-shoulder first person. You'll walk down this hallway, and then the camera will like switch to over here, which I'll talk about it a bit more when I get to gameplay. But from a pure, again, atmosphere presentation standpoint, I love it. I think there were so many times it would make an angle. I mean, there were quite a few that I was like, okay, like this wasn't super necessary. I don't think this is like a great shot. It's not really getting me into the atmosphere of it. There were other times where I'm like, oh, that looks so creepy. I do not want to go down that hallway. I'm gonna, but I do not want to go down that hallway. Or one of my favorite elements of it. So every time you open a door, because they're pretty much all sliding doors, like you get this little animation of you going to the door, you slide it open, and you don't immediately go through. Like you slide it open, then you can go through. So in the first like couple houses, I'm like, okay, there's got to be a ghost behind one of these. Like at some point, hey Bubba, sorry, my cat's right here, and he's got to love on him for a little bit. Anyway, sorry. But I kept expecting there to be a ghost behind one of the doors. It's like, that's such a perfect setup. Okay, it's not happening. Okay, it's not happening. Okay, so I guess it's just not going to be a thing. Finally, it happened. And it wasn't something that where it happened, I was like, oh my god, oh shit. It was more just, yes, they finally did it. They finally delivered on that. I've been waiting for that to happen the entire fucking game. Good job. Loved that shit. Then it happened again. Because I don't remember exactly what house it was in the first time. It might have been in the Kiryu house, or maybe the house like right before, because it's Osaka is the first one, Kurosawa's the big one, Kiryu and Tachibana are the twins. I don't remember if there's another house. I feel like there was. It might have been Tachibana. Anyways, like that was a thing that happened. Then there's that point in the game where you're being chased by Sai, which what I love about that section is the whole thing is in black and white, and it just makes it so much creepier, and I fucking love that. But as she's chasing me and I didn't know where she was, I just opened the door and she was right there on the other side. And I remember I was less like, oh my god, and more just laughing at how thoroughly fucked I was for doing that. I was like, I love that that's a thing. That's so cool that she can do that. Also bad for me. But I loved it. Like there were so many moments where I don't feel like I was actively scared super often while playing the game. It's like, yes, we made sure to play it at night. There are a few times where like a light would be on, but we tried to make sure to turn the lights off, to really get into the atmosphere. I did. I was rarely scared, But there were a lot of moments of like, that's so good. Like, again, like I love that angle there. I love that whispering. It's spooky. It's creepy. Am I actively afraid? No. Maybe if I was playing by myself, I'd be a bit more like, I don't know about this one, Chief. But I enjoyed that experience a lot. I just want to check my notes, other presentation stuff. So, the opening doors, all that shit. Okay, so the next thing would just be, I need to touch on the voice acting real quick. I think I should also specify, I played the PS2 version, I did not play the remake or the Xbox version. I don't know how different the Xbox version is. I know it has an additional ending. I played the I played it on the PSN, like on the PS3 specifically, but it was the PS2 version of the game. I think the voice acting is fine. I know there can be some jank from that era, but I feel like that era was also when it was getting better. And yeah, I feel like for the most part, there might have been like a line or two here that was a little off. But I think Mio and Mayu sound fine. I think a lot of the ghosts on like the staticky thing, like they sound good. Overall, it's pretty solid. When it comes to the ghost design, so this is where it's like, it's important. I said earlier, I'm not a big horror guy, but I want to get more into the genre. Because I remember Clay was telling me, he's like, dude, like as someone who loves horror, like I did not find the ghost designs that scary. I did not find them that interesting. There's a couple, because I know he really liked the lady who was like crawling like this, like crawling backwards and shit. Did not expect to do that demonstration, but here we are. But he's like, I loved that one. But for the most part, most of them were just kind of okay. I actually kind of liked them. I like the Kusabi. He's just kind of like a big demon-looking dude. He looks pretty cool. I love Sai. I love that she just has this nice white kimono. And with the red sash, it really sticks out. I like the creepy crawl lady. There's this one lady you fight her a few times where her neck is just not quite right. It's not even it's not quite right. It's like hanging off. That one is really memorable to me. I liked the twins, just like these two like young girls in nice little kimonos with the like Sadako hair, and you can't really see their faces. I liked that. There's also just the Sadako. Like I remember opening a box and then she just crawls out of the box, the hair in front of the eyes. I'm like, oh, that's classic shit. I love that. So as someone who isn't as familiar with, I guess, good ghost designs, I liked these. Maybe if I played other games in the genre or in the series, because I've heard the ones in 1 and 3 are just really fucking scary, I might be more critical of the designs of Fatal Frame 2. But from my experience, good shit. To me, this is an easy 5 out of 5 presentation. It nails the atmosphere. Like I said, there's so many good angles. I love the lighting. I love the ambient sounds. I love the creepy whispering. The voice acting, I don't have any problem with. The ghost designs, I don't have any problem with. Good fucking shit. Now we move on to the gameplay. So, I was saying earlier, I love the fixed angles from a cinematic standpoint and like, the atmosphere and shit. From a gameplay perspective, I fucking hated it. I have an awful, I'm going to say that twice, awful sense of direction. It's really fucking bad. I am bad at remembering my left and my right. I am not even kidding. I literally will go, okay, that's an L. This is my left hand. This is my left hand side. This is my right hand side. Or I'll think, okay, this is the side of the road I'm driving on. That means this is the right. I have a really fucking bad sense of direction. In games where I have full control over the camera, it's easy for me to get lost and turned around. It happens. In a game where I have no control over the camera, so I'll just be walking in a direction and then the camera completely shifts. So now I'm not actually sure which way is forward or back. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll keep going. Like I was pushing down to go forward, so I'll push down again. Oh shit, now I got turned around. Now I gotta push up. Oh shit, but now the camera changed again. So now I keep pushing up. Okay, yeah, up is now where I was supposed to go, but I was pushing down. Like, what the fuck? I would get turned around so often, and there were points where Clay would like tell me where to go. He's like, okay, you gotta go down. Okay, no, you idiot, I said down, like, but I am pushing down, but I pushed down, but then she went that way, and then the camera got turned around, and it's like, well, I told you to go left. I am going left. Yo, you're supposed to go left after this. I'm like, oh, what are you talking about? Like, my sense of direction is so bad, and this game's camera system, not the camera obscura system, but its camera angles, oh, it made it so unpleasant. But speaking of camera, let's get into the camera obscura. So in this game, the way you fight ghosts, you don't have like a bat, you don't have a gun, you have a camera. You take pictures of them to exorcise the ghosts. Essentially the way to do damage is by two things. One, I'm taking pictures obviously, but the closer you are to the ghost, the more in frame they are. Okay, so like take this. Here, you get like kind of some of my face in frame, so it would do some damage. Here, you can see my entire head, that's going to do more damage. Also, if the ghost is just kind of chilling there, sitting like this, so it's like, all right, here, I'm not much of my head is in frame, I'm not doing anything crazy, not going to do a lot of damage. But if the ghost is like rearing up for an attack and right about to hit you, you will do more damage. So essentially, it's a high risk, high reward system of gameplay that I really like. The closer you are to the ghost, the more damage you're going to do, and the more aggressive the ghost is being when you get them, also the more damage you are going to do. The eponymous fatal frame is when you, like, a ghost is right about to attack. So it's like, if it's not going to do a lot of damage, your reticle is kind of yellowy. If you're going to do more damage because they're closer or they're kind of starting to attack, it's going to be red. Your reticle will start blinking right when they're about to hit you, and if you get them there, it is a fatal frame, which just means you do a lot more damage, and then you can do a follow-up attack. You also have multiple kinds of film, which is essentially like, as a lot of people will say, okay, this film, it's weaker, this is the pistol, this one's stronger, it has a bit more range, so it's the rifle. This one you got to be right up close, it does more damage. Here's the shotgun. This is the one you get like 4 of throughout the game, so this is the rocket launcher. I don't remember them all. It's like type 60, 91, 64, the type 0, I think, something like that. On top of that, as you go through the game, you can get additional lenses, which can upgrade your camera. It can do like stronger special moves and whatnot. I didn't super fuck with that until the end of the game. Part of it was I didn't feel like I super needed it. Also, part of it was like, I'm playing on New Game Plus, which means I have access to shit I shouldn't have at the moment. So I'm going to try to not abuse that. So I feel like those are kind of the basics of combat. It's okay. I like the idea on paper, but combat often feels way too long. I don't like how passive some of the ghosts can be, because that's really what makes it super long. Like, if you're fighting a ghost that is super aggro, the game is actually really fun. If a ghost is more kind of passive or has really long windups, like fighting some of the priests or like the neck lady, combat just feels really tedious. But some of the standout fights to me are the 2 little Shrine Maiden girls, because their mechanic is they'll attack you at the same time. One is actually a ghost, the other is like they're both ghosts, but one will actually take damage, the other is just there to be a decoy. And it was actually really fun. Like, I take a picture of the decoy, like, oh shit, I gotta go get the other one. And I remember there were quite a few times I was able to get her, find her. There were a few times I was able to take both of them in the picture at once, make sure she got damaged. There were times like, all right, I took a picture of you, I don't know where the other one is, shit, I took damage. There was one time where I was like, I got her, spun around, she was right at me, fatal framed that bitch. It was so satisfying. I was like, that is actually a 360 no scope. Let's fucking go. I am kicking ass. But I loved fighting them. You fight them thrice. And it wasn't one of those where I was like, I have to do this shit again. I was like, okay, I'm actually having really fun fighting them. Let's go. The fight with the Kusabi, which is the final boss of normal mode, I didn't like it, partly because if he hits you, it's an insta-kill, which I just fucking hate. Also, he heals, and he heals a lot, which just made the fight feel unnecessarily long and tedious, so I really didn't like it. But if you're playing on hard mode, you get a final boss fight against Sai. I really liked the fight against Sai. There's also just a section of the game I alluded to earlier where she is chasing you around a house. That part is really fun. It's really intense. She also has an insta-kill, which is annoying, but she does not have it in the boss fight. So I was like, okay, because that would have been awful, and I don't know if I would have finished the game. I was like, this is bullshit. That was really fucking fun, though. I loved it. But in addition to the combat, it being a horror game, it's a very puzzly kind of game. It's a very, very backtracky kind of game. You walk around the house, okay, this door is locked. And sometimes it'll just be like, it is locked. This is the insignia on the lock. Go find this key. Cool. So now I have an end game, at least like for this puzzle. Other times it'll just be like, I'm trying to open it. The door is sealed by some unseen force. Sometimes that's as simple as you pull out the camera, you take a picture of the ghost on the door, and you open the door. A lot of times it's sealed by an unseen force, which translates to, yeah, so there's some random cryptic bullshit you're going to have to do in the area, and when you do it, this will open. You're not going to know that was the thing because there's nothing that specifically tells you that was the thing until you come back here and try to open it, and it works. There's times when the game is very good at telling you, this is what you need to do. And if you've been walking around the house, you'll know how to get here. I'm going to put a quick pin in there because I have an example. Other times it is just, this door is locked, go find some shit. Sometimes it's very cryptic and vague, and it bothered me. And as someone who hates backtracking, generally speaking, I did not enjoy it a whole lot. At least again, like the puzzle aspects. Now let's take that pin out. So there's the part with Sai when she's chasing around a house. That part is fun. It's not super backtracky. The one part of the game that was really backtracky, that actually there's two. It's the Kurosawa house. I had quite a bit of fun in there. And the Kiryu house with the twins. That was super fun. I think what I liked about that so much is there's a part where you're walking around, a lot of like some cryptic bullshit, not really sure where to go. But then once I got the ball rolling, I was like, oh, okay, I'm able to go here, 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 here. Oh, okay, I found this special doll room. One of the statues is intact. The other is missing the head and the arms. Oh, okay, I know the story of this place. You know, the one twin did the ritual, which we'll talk to the story, of course, in a bit. They completed the ritual, so the one twin is dead. But the surviving twin was heartbroken after having to kill her sister because this is a fun ritual. So their dad made a doll of the dead twin, but the dead twin's spirit possessed that doll. And now the living twin, I think it was either she was kind of starting to get affected by her sister's spirit, or, you know, she was just so still traumatized by everything she couldn't really move forward, which fucking understandable. And so the doll had to be broken, so you have to go around the house and grab the head and the two arms. But if you're reading the notes along the way, which you should because they're interesting and they can be helpful, excuse me, you will know that the head and the arms are in specific locked boxes. And I was like, oh, I remember running around and finding a hallway, and in that one hallway there was a locked box. Or it wasn't even locked. It was like, this box is shut. There's probably nothing important. I'm like, I know what the fuck that is now. Bam! Got the head. Let's go. Shit, I have to get the arms. Oh, I remember the storage room in this part of the house. There's gotta be something in there. Yeah, I got the arm. Fuck, that was only one arm. Now I have to run around like an idiot to find the other one. Shit. But now I kind of know what I'm doing. All right, I found the thing. Bah, bah, bah. Let's go. Let's do the puzzle. Hey, she's missing her eyes. Fuck. I don't know. Oh, no. I know where the eyes are because I found the room where he was making the dolls, and it specifically said they're eyes that are staring at you. Let's go. And so I go there, and it's not the right room. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is exactly what it is. And then I realized, wait, there's a room that's like 2 rooms down from this one that's been locked by some mysterious force. But now that I've done all this shit, I can probably go in there. Boom, did it, fought a boss, got the eyes, went back. I was like, all right, we got the head, the eyes, the arms, let's do this puzzle. No, now you have to find the design plans. Well, fuck you, what is this shit? No one told me about this, and I gotta go all the way back to the room I thought the eyes were in, take a random ass picture, get the thing, come back here. That's when it was kind of starting to annoy me, because I was like, I'm getting into this flow state and figuring it out. Now you're just kind of saying, nah, fuck you, go all the way back. But I did. Then I had to do like one last little puzzle and then a fight. It was fun. It was ass, but it was fun. A couple other puzzles I remember really liking is there's these puzzles where you have to move these pinwheels to make sure that every color like touches the correct corresponding color. I don't think I'm super explaining it well. If you played the game, you know what I'm talking about. You do it twice. I liked those a lot. There's also a puzzle where you have to do a slide puzzle with a bunch of dolls. You're like, oh yeah, do this in 30 seconds. I'm like, fuck, I hate time limits. Crap, I was off by like 2 seconds. Let me try that again. Done. Fuck, that was super fun. I really like slide puzzles, which from what I understand is something that's in a lot in Fatal Frame 1, so maybe I'll really like the puzzles in 1. But, let me check to see if I have anything else to really say about gameplay. One thing. One other very important thing about gameplay. As I have said in other videos where I have referenced playing Fatal Frame 2, so generally in Car Talk videos, there is a button, it's the square button specifically, that you hold to run. Because otherwise you just kind of walk. If you hold that button, you run. If you mash the square button, if you mash the run button, your character, that being Mio, will kind of stutter as she goes, where she's not quite running. It's like she's trying to start the animation, but because you're not holding the button, she's stuttering as she goes. This is something I generally refer to as stutter stepping. Because in any game that has a run button or a walk button, a button where when you hold it, you change your speed, if you mash it, your character will just kind of go, and I think it's fucking hilarious, and I love it. In most games, I have only seen one animation, like, per game. It's like, no, this is what happens when they stutter. Mio has like 6. There is this like penguin shuffle. There's this weird, awkward like Scooby-Doo shit. There's this really nasty, awkward glide. And then there's this like perfect, pristine glide. And I think I actually found like another 1 or 2. Like, I was like, oh shit, there's more. I love this shit. Not only is it incredibly goofy and funny to look at in any game, which, yes, does that cheapen the atmosphere and the scares? Absolutely. But I was like, yeah, I can still acknowledge the atmosphere and the creep value of what's going on is really high. You can't stop me from stutter stepping, especially when this is the best damn stutter step I have ever seen in any game. So much so that I am officially renaming that term. Stutter stepping, from this point forward, which occasionally I'll probably still call it that, I am officially referring to as the Minakami Shuffle. Minakami is the name of the village, All Gods Village, as it's referred to in the English versions, but Minakami. The Minakami Shuffle is one of the most beautiful things I have ever seen in a game. Ironically, of course, but I love it. And I can't wait. I just loved it. Anytime I find I can do a Minakami Shuffle in a game, I get really excited. Oh. So anyways, my overall thoughts on gameplay. I think there are some there are some highlights to the puzzles, again, like the pinwheel and the slide puzzle. There's some highlights to the combat. The twin fights, the psi fight. But generally speaking, I find the puzzles too backtracky for my personal taste, and combat too tedious for my personal taste. I feel like, generally speaking, I liked it about as much as I disliked it, which to me is a 2.5. That feels a little harsh, given how some of like my more recent sessions were like, this part was really fun. But I feel like overall, I don't like the way combat or puzzles are handled, but there are some specific moments that I had a lot of fun with. So now we move on to the narrative. I see that my phone battery is starting to get pretty low, so I might have to cut this short and then I gotta resume it. Hopefully it's not an Azure situation where I can release most of the video and then the other part of it has to be separate, so we'll just try to do what we can. So the narrative. Basic premise is you are playing as twin sisters, Mio and Mayu. Mio is the one you are playing as. Every now and then you get a very short section as Mayu. The two of them, I don't know their ages. I think they're about 15-ish, somewhere in there. Anywhere from like 13 to 15. They're going back to this old spot they used to hang out in when they were there previously. I don't know if it's specifically the last time. But the two of them were running. Mio ran ahead of Mayu. And then Mayu was like, sis, wait up. And then ended up falling, breaking her leg. As a result of that, Mio is a lot more protective of Mayu. And Mayu really likes that her sister's very protective of her. Is like, I always want us to be really close. Don't leave me behind. Mio has guilt about it. Mayu kind of feeds into that, but not in like a super creepy, possessive way. But just enough of a, hey sis, just like, I don't want to be without you. Don't make sure you don't leave me again. But as you go into the village, Mayu is the one who finds the village. She ends up following a Crimson Butterfly, which is the full name of the game, Fatal Frame 2, Crimson Butterfly. Goes into the village, and Mayu is very easily susceptible to the ghosts and their machinations. Your main antagonist, Sai, often will just full on possess Mayu. There's this one scene I really love where Mio and Mayu get separated. Take a shot every time that happens. And you have to do a bunch of bullshit to get a key to get your sister out. So by the time you get the key, Mayu is not in the room. So you go into the room, a cutscene plays where Sai is walking around and she's walking past close to the door, and you can see in the window it's clearly Sai. There's a knock on the door. I actually don't remember if it knocked. So the door is starting to open. I'm like, oh, it's not going to be Sai when she opens the door. It's going to be Mayu. And it is Mayu. I'm like, that's so creepy. I love that. I love how she is, she's actively possessing Mayu. And at some points, it's like, this is just Sai, but she might just be a ghost. She might actually be in Mayu's body. It's a little unclear at times, but it's the good ambiguous kind of unclear, rather than just being stupid vague. I love that shit. As you explore, what you learn is in Minakami Village, there is a ritual to prevent what I believe is called the repentance. The village is built on top of the hellish abyss, so it's built on hell. And if hell is not satiated, it'll kind of fuck up the village, envelop it in darkness, all that fun shit. That is the repentance, I believe they call it. The way to do it, what the ritual is when you have twins of a certain age, around that 13, 15 age, the older twin will kill the younger one. I don't know if it is always by strangulation, but that's generally how it goes. The older will kill the younger, prosperity to the village and whatnot. If twins are not available, they will sacrifice an outsider who just happens to stumble upon the village. The last time this was supposed to happen, there were a pair of twins. I believe it was Mitsuki and Itsuki. Itsuki killed his brother, but the ritual still had to go through. Where it's you did it, for some reason that didn't work. So the next pair of twins are going to have to stop this, that being Sai and Yai. Itsuki wanted to save them, so he helped them escape the village. Yai was able to escape, Sai was not. And it's not just she got left behind. It was very similar to the Mio Mayu situation, where, like Mayu, Sai fell. Not really wanting to leave, not believing her sister would leave her behind, she fell on purpose. The game is a bit ambiguous as to whether Mayu fell on purpose. With some of the endings, especially in the remake, I do think she fell on purpose. But Sai for sure did. Yai escaped. The villagers came, grabbed Sai, well, shit, we don't have both twins, but this is the one that was gonna die anyway, so they hung her. They also sacrificed an outsider who was there at the time, who is now the Kusabi, who's her minion ghost, and it did not work. So, the ghosts of the village want want to complete the ritual. They want Mio and Mayu, who were twins, about that age, to do the deed. Something that is lost in translation is that Mayu is the older of the twins. Apparently in the Japanese version, Mio will call her One-chan, One-san, which is generally saying older sister, which she does not do at all in the American version. I had no idea who the older sister was. But at the end of the game, you can read a note that says, in Minakami, it is tradition that the second-born twin is considered the older. In their belief system, it is the older sibling, being the homie that they are, allows the younger to be born first, and then they come out. So the twist in the Japanese version is that while you think throughout the game, Mayu, the one being possessed by the evil ghost, the one who's being acting crazy and possessive and shit, is the one that's going to do the killing. In actuality, she's the one that needs to be sacrificed. Which I think is a really interesting, good twist that just doesn't come across in the English version. So as you go throughout the game, you learn things in the different houses, like, oh, this was an outsider that got sacrificed. She was here looking for her boyfriend who disappeared, who had gotten sacrificed. Here's the story of these two twins and how the one twin just kind of fell apart mentally. So her dad made a doll that the other twin possessed, and how that just did not help her mental state at all. All the shit with Sai and Yai, and how even though Sai's like, I am going to die, I still want to complete the ritual. My sister will never abandon me. I believe in my sister. It's I think it's also part of the Minakami belief that twins are one soul in two bodies. And by doing the ritual, essentially the two souls get to unite. You become one. Sai wanted to do that with her sister, and it never came to fruition. Mio and Mayu frequently talk about how we'll be together forever. Let's never leave each other. All that kind of stuff. Excuse me. Then you get to the canon ending of the game. So I just want to make sure, do I have anything else I really want to say about it? Okay, not really. Well, without getting into specific character shit. The canon ending is they're in the ceremonial grounds for this. Mayu, due to A, being fucking crazy, and 2, Sai influenced / possessed, is ready for the ritual. Mio, who throughout the game just wants to leave with her sister, goes through with the ritual and strangles and kills Mayu. The game ends, the ritual is completed, the town does not have to be destroyed. Mayu turns into this crimson butterfly who flies along with the others. Mio tries to run after her, crying, sobbing. That's basically it. I don't like the ending. I do not mind the game having a downer ending. I feel like horror is one of those genres that can really work with a downer ending. Sometimes your character is in a terrible, horrible situation with some bullshit curse, some bullshit monster, maybe both, and they're able to overcome it and survive, and everything is Gucci. Other times, you just don't. And that fucking sucks. But it is what it is. So I don't mind that being the ending. But it doesn't make sense to me. Mio throughout the game, and part of that is I don't know Mio's character. She's more of the player avatar than she is a character. Mayu has quite a bit of character and some ambiguity that you can kind of read between the lines with. Mio is essentially, I'm here with my sister, I love my sister, I want to leave, and when a ghost shows up, I get kind of scared. And again, she's likable, I can empathize with her, but I don't really know a lot about her as a person. One thing I do know is she does not seem to be susceptible to ghosts. She can see them, they can hurt her, but at no point in the game does it seem like she is being possessed. So when you get to the ending, I'm not, and maybe I missed something, it could have been something that was lost in translation, it could have been something that was clearly there and was lost on me, because again, I did not actually get that ending, but it is the canon ending. Is that, I guess it's because she's so close to the abyss itself that its spiritual presence and power overwhelms her, and as a result of that, she succumbs to it and kills Mayu. Yeah, but throughout the game, she hasn't shown that she's that susceptible, and even if it's that strong here, really? it doesn't sit right with me. Like, it just doesn't make sense. You know, I look at something like Silent Hill 2, which, major spoilers for Silent Hill 2. Like, let me go and say that. We give the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Silent Hill 2 time. That is a game about a man who murdered his wife. He then gets a letter from her saying, I'm in this town, come find me. And James, as someone who is struggling with the guilt of what he did to the point where he's completely blocked the incident from his mind, is desperate to go find his wife and seek closure, repentance, punishment. Depending on who you ask, you might get different answers. And the game has various endings, not just based on the choices you make as James, but like actively the way you play the game. And if Fatal Frame 2 was like that, where it was, no, like if you were constant, because like there's times when Mayu was with you, and you can just kind of leave her and just run, just book it. And she'd be like, sis, wait up. You're like, nah, I got puzzles to solve. Fuck off. You can do that. There's no consequence. But if the game decided there were consequences, like when you're separated from Mayu because you got to do puzzles, if you take too long, it counts against you. Or if you do it fast enough, it will count in your favor. Those times when she's with you, if you like actively will wait for her to spend time with her. Or if when she's with you, you just book it because you clearly don't care. If that influenced your ending, I would fucking love the ending. Because like, no. This is your fault. You killed your sister because the way you played the game indicated you did not care about her. You didn't wait for her. When she was captured, you took your sweet fucking time. You wouldn't like do shit, go back, make sure she was okay, stay with her, let her know what's going on. You just did your own shit and did not care. Or you cared. You always made sure to wait for her. You always made sure to like go back to her, let her know this is what's going on. I am coming back. That Mio would not kill her sister, but that Mio would kill her sister. That would be so fucking good. And like Silent Hill 2 did it, and I think it's amazing. So that's why I'm like, I don't hate the idea of Fatal Frame 2's ending, but it doesn't make sense to me that Mia would just kind of succumb to it and go, all right, sure. But if it was based on your choices and the way you played the game, that's your fault. That's what your Mia would do. That, to me, that's like a 5 out of 5 narrative idea right there. Like, no question. Like, you get extra points in gameplay for that, too. Because the gameplay directly impacts how the story unfolds. Holy fucking shit. I really hope the Silent Hill 2 remake does the same shit, which I can't imagine it wouldn't, because, again, that's kind of the point of Silent Hill 2. But regardless, I don't really like the ending. Now, there are other endings. If I'm correct, there are 6 total. There's 3 in the original game, 1 in the Xbox, and 2 in the remake. It is the canon ending, which is Mio kills her sister. The others are, you save your sister, you don't kill her, but Mio looks into the abyss, she is blinded, and Mayu is now kind of taking care of her. But you both survive. There's one where Mio leaves the village without Mayu. She's attacked by Sai, but then she just kind of wakes up outside the village, so she's alive, she's fine, but she left her sister behind. Those are the 3 in the original game. The director's cut adds a true good ending where Sai and Yai's spirits are reunited. They kind of go into the afterlife together. Mio and Mayu survive, escape, and aside from Mayu's leg, which was already like that, they are both intact. Oh shit, 5%, we're almost done. But I'm kind of getting close. And then the remake has 2 more endings. One where they both die, like the don't complete the ritual, everyone dies, but they die together. And then Frozen Butterfly, which is Mio cannot go through the ritual, so Mayu does it, kills Mio, and is then taking care of her forever. That is my favorite ending. Not because it is the best ending, not because it's the goodest ending, but I'm like, to me it makes sense that Mio would not do this, and Mayu is crazy enough to do it. And in that ending, it is made abundantly clear that she fell and broke her leg on purpose. Whether she was trying to break her leg or not, but it's like she fell on purpose to guilt trip Mio, and now she has her sister forever. I was so actively uncomfortable watching that ending. I was cringing, I was grimacing. It's great. I don't think Mio is a super interesting character. I don't like the canon ending. I have to take points off. I'd say it's probably a 4 narrative because of that. If you do the gameplay affects the ending you get, or the fucked up butterfly ending, which I love because how fucked it is, like, blah, that would put it up. But I would say it's a 5 presentation, 2.5 for gameplay, 4 for narrative. So I'd say it's about a, what is that, 7, like an 11.5 out of 15. I certainly liked it more than I disliked it. I have my problems with it. Good shit overall.